Welcome to the Commercial Real Estate Academy podcast, the podcast dedicated to simplifying the commercial real estate industry for the masses. Each week, we sit down with industry experts to dissect the many facets of commercial real estate and extract valuable lessons you can apply to your business. Whether you're a new or seasoned business owner or investor, the Commercial Real Estate Academy podcast will be your go-to resource for all your commercial real estate needs. Now, here are your hosts, Raphael Collazo and Jeff Walston.
Welcome to the Commercial Real Estate Academy podcast. I'm your host, Raphael Collazo, here with my co-host, Jeff Walston. How's it going, my friend?
It's going great. Like I always say, business is going well. I feel like the market is still, I think it's stabilized in my opinion, or even picked up in some markets. So I don't know how the listeners believe that or not, but that's my take on it. Other than that, everything's going well. What about you, Raphael?
It's going well. I'm working a lot on leasing as of late. The buy side has slowed down for sure. I've definitely seen that on my end, mainly related to interest rate hikes. But I know a lot of my clients are kind of like in a wait and see mode. But I'm sure that'll change here in the near term. Just again, it's just kind of the environment we're currently in. But I'm excited to continue to get out there and try to help as many people as I can in what I do. And so that just gives us all an opportunity to double down and make it through, the weird times that we find ourselves in. But outside of, just the times we're currently in, I mean, we had a phenomenal conversation and a really cool, insightful conversation with Ernesto Gamboa, who's a CCIM and SIOR located in Ecuador. He's a CRE Advisor for Remarks Commercial. It's a commercial real estate company that he's involved with his family as well. So it was a really insightful conversation. We learned a little bit more about his backstory. He had opportunity to study in Colombia and then made it back to Ecuador, where now he's working with his father on a variety of different commercial real estate functions. His main focus is on the transactional side, and he works with a variety of corporate and local clients to help them with with different real estate needs. So one of the things he talked about was early on in his career, some of the struggles that he faced early on. We also touched on a lot on the hospitality side of things. As a market like Ecuador, it has a very diverse ecology. The ecosystem there is very, very diverse. You have mountains, you have oceans, you have rainforest, you have desert. And so we talked about some of the initiatives that they've been taking on to try to attract more people to come to Ecuador and the investment dollars that follow as a result of people wanting to invest in the hospitality space there. We also touched on, different ways that Ecuador and really just the local, government can help, spur that type of an interest and investment in the area. And then finally, we touched on his background in SIOR. He is a committee member as well for the international board, and he values the designation immensely. And so we talked a little bit about, what he's garnered from being affiliated with the SIOR organization as well as CCIM. So I thought it was a very insightful conversation. I love having conversations with people from all across the world because you get to gain those insights that you don't necessarily do achieve by just speaking with people domestically. And so I really enjoyed the conversation. Jeff, what do you think?
Yeah, it was a really great conversation. I definitely enjoyed getting like you said, the insights of Ecuador and that market, and even the sub markets within that market. So I really enjoyed it. Ernesto seems like he's a really great guy, and I think everyone's going to enjoy it as well. I also wanted to say, hey guys, I appreciate you guys listening. We do greatly appreciate it. So one of the things that we like to ask is if you can recommend this show. The whole goal and premise of this show is for us to get out the knowledge of commercial real estate and share amongst the masses. So the more people we can reach, the better. So I just wanted to see if you guys could do that for us. We would greatly appreciate it. Other than that, what about you, Raphael?
Yeah, I know. Same. As we always say in each and every episode, we do greatly appreciate you guys' support. We wouldn't be here without, every single one of you guys continually listening and providing feedback to us. And along with feedback, what that comes along with is actually sharing a 5-star review with us. It does make a huge difference in people, especially as they're looking at podcasts to potentially listen to. If they see something that has a lot of 5-star reviews, they're more likely to actually take that first listen, which is really what we want people to really engage with the podcast, learn about the many facets of commercial real estate. And one of the best ways to do that is to engage by leaving a 5-star review. So if you guys don't mind, don't do this while you're driving. If you guys are driving, wait until you stop. But, don't forget to at least stop by Apple Podcasts and leave us a 5-star review. If you're listening to this on Spotify, you can leave a 5-star review on there as well, because it really does make a huge impact in our ability to reach a broad audience. So again, thanks so much for everything you guys do. So without further ado, let's go ahead and dive right into the podcast. Well, hey, Ernesto, great afternoon. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. How are you, Raphael? Great to be here with you. Honored to share with you guys this afternoon.
Awesome.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. We really appreciate your time. And so
yeah.
excited.
Well, for those of you guys who don't know, Ernesto's tuning in from South America. So we're thrilled to have him on the podcast to share his insights on his local market. That's one of the cool things about this podcast. We've gotten to meet people from all across the world. We've interviewed people in Australia, Canada, South America. I don't remember Korea. Yeah, all over the world. So it's really interesting to see how people interact in the commercial real estate landscape internationally. And so we're really excited to kind of dive in and learn a little bit more about what you guys do on the ground over there.
Good. Perfect, Raphael. I'm honored to be with you. And well, it's a challenge with the main reason of your podcast, like to be as clear as possible about the business. That's what I understand, because it's for the masses, and that's the big challenge that we have always in consultancy. Like, okay, share the communication in the best way to be understood. That's a big challenge. So
absolutely. And I think that these forums where we can just talk, kind of casually about the things that we do, we start realizing that there's similarities that we can capture and extract from all across the world. So really one thing we typically like to do when we first talk to someone that we have on the podcast is we like to learn a little bit more about who they are. So if you don't mind kind of sharing your backstory, I think that'd be great.
Okay, related to the real estate business directly, I studied my university in Colombia, and then I came to Ecuador to work with my father. This is a family business led by my father in consultancy, and I've had the opportunity to develop within the family firm the transactions section. That it's something that I've been doing all the time since 15 years ago, and supporting as well the consultancy side. That's my quick story into this business. So I have my opinion on the process to develop the commercial real estate business from the consultancy perspective, from the appraisal perspective. There's information systems involved, there is the transactions, there's the project management, there's a lot of related business that we have to deal in participating or relating with the diverse professionals that are in our industry.
Absolutely. No, I couldn't agree more. And you had mentioned your excursions outside of Quito. You worked and you went to university in Colombia. Colombia is beautiful. I loved it. I was there briefly visiting. It's a beautiful country, and I'm sure those experiences in your college years, did you garner lessons that you then applied to what you're doing today, or how was that experience?
The experience in college, it's great in Colombia. This the college that I graduated, it's top of the line, but the business is different. The business is different, and you gotta have the best mentorship into this. Otherwise, it's gonna be more complicated. In my case, my particular case, the mentorship is my father, so it's something that it's very valuable for me, and I had the the ability
Mm-hmm.
also to handle this situation in the best way possible. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I know you spoke of going into your family firm, but I'm just kind of curious of why that you didn't dive outside of the commercial and why not go towards like say residential. What was really the draw? Was it more than family, or is that just it?
No, the perception of more interesting deals into the commercial side, that sometimes it's a perception, because in residential there are very good business as well happening in new property and projects and secondhand property and all the different sections of the residential market. It was an idea because it was more sophisticated and more of a consultancy challenge. Perhaps that's something that helped a lot into this decision. I have helped residential requirements to corporate clients, but it's not the specialty that I decided to follow at one point.
Yeah. And I'd say that's similar to a lot of people's sentiment. I'm not from a real estate background. And originally I came from a tech background. I was an engineer and then got into brokerage. And the reason I went into the commercial side of things is because of the nuances and differences within the different property types that you can choose to specialize in. I mean, you could be working with a franchise owner who's looking to open up some fast casual dining restaurants. You could be working with a large manufacturing client that needs certain power requirements for their manufacturing facility. You could be working in hospitality and you're working with hotel owners and you're trying to figure out, how to best orient the building to make sure that it produces the appropriate revenue based on their metrics. So there's so many different nuances to the commercial real estate business that although residential can have those types of nuances, it's not nearly as diverse and, in my opinion, as complex a lot of times as you would find in the commercial space. So I feel like that's probably a sentiment that I had when I got in the business. And that's what, a reason that I decided that it was ultimately appropriate for me. And I'm sure you had the same thought as well.
Good, Raphael. Yeah. I understand that. I share it.
That's awesome. So one of the things that, is about our business that can be difficult is obviously the early stages of the process. Getting into the business and, really establishing yourself as a figure that to be trusted, in particular, because a lot of the clients that we deal with tend to be more seasoned individuals. How did you overcome those initial few years as you were trying to establish yourself in the market?
Well, I had the opportunity to bring my father's reputation in the market and take it from there. But it is my early stages were very lucky, as I targeted the big commercial real estate firms for deals in what I can say is my market, that is Ecuador. And I did very well. That was like my beginning specifically. So it's something that afterwards is the strategy to start bringing local deals, because I was always oriented to corporate, but that's different kind of business from local organizations or even families with a stake on the commercial real estate. So it is what has been happening for me since that good business that I did in many ways with the big brokers. Right now, the relationships have changed, the conditions have changed, and we are now focusing more on developing the local business and other kind of other sources of the business to make it as broad as possible.
Absolutely. Yeah. So outside of the corporate relationships, you also see the value in developing relationships with those local players who, operate in the commercial space as well, which makes sense. I mean, that's a phenomenal insight to share, because I mean, a lot of times, I know with a lot of some of these big brokerages, I mean, they're very heavily dependent on corporate, clients, which is great when things are doing well. And then when things pivot, then it can cause an issue if there's no other, form of business generation occurring. So.
Yep, definitely, Raphael. Yep.
So, Ernesto, I kind of wanted to know, like, what is the environment of like the hospitality real estate in your local market? What's it? How's it been transpiring since everything's that's been going on in the last couple of years, and has the market went up or down in yours? Can you kind of elaborate on that?
Well, the hospitality market has different sub-markets. Some of them were not doing well even before the current situation. It's a very delicate market. Some of them handled to survive sometimes in some segments. It's very dependent also on the political climate that you have, except Galapagos, because Galapagos is it's a different kind of hospitality that it's located there. However, there are projects that are hopefully going to advance in a best way here in Ecuador in general, in the beach, in the mountains as well. There is also a part of the Amazon jungle in Ecuador, so there are a lot of opportunities to develop, linked to a positive international perception that can be handled by the authorities here and worldwide.
Yeah, and I'll speak to that as well. I mean, I've had the opportunity to go to Ecuador, and it's a beautiful country. I mean, granted, it was back in 2006, I believe, is when I was there, or 2006, 2007, and it was absolutely gorgeous. I'd love to be able to go back one day to visit. And now that we've built this connection, it's a good opportunity to, potentially connect.
Sure.
Get on the ground.
Look,
but
I see the ideal picture of the hospitality. It's maybe something similar to what has happened in Costa Rica. That is very, very alike from Ecuador, like diversity with the mountains, with the volcano, that El Arenal, that is very similar to Shanghai, that is currently exploding with a beautiful landscape. It requires a lot of international awareness and the will to go there that Costa Rica has handled very, very well. And it's Costa Rica is a smaller country, but it has cashed out very, very well the hospitality strategy. I think ideally we could go that way.
So yeah, and kind of stemming from that point, I was kind of curious if you could elaborate a little bit on those opportunities that you see, that you think that you guys could capitalize on. Like, what are some of the value add opportunities that you see to be able to kind of advance that perception that you had referenced?
The hospitality business?
Yeah, in the hospitality space. And really, I mean, in general, I think, because again, each market you're in, regardless of where you're in, like, we play to our strengths in locally here in Louisville, we're a bourbon market. So if you like bourbon, that's kind of our, claim to fame. And we've tried to, market that to the rest of the United States and around the world to attract investment dollars in that arena. We're also very well known for our horses. So a very strong equestrian, background. And so that's another thing that we played up a lot, is that, just 20, 30 minutes away from us, there's massive horse farms. Kentucky Derby is here every year. So you almost have to, in each market, play to what your strength is, or what you think the most prominent value proposition is. And so I was kind of curious if you could kind of share that, because I'm sure a lot of people would be would gain value from that.
On the country.
Mm-hmm.
On the country is the diversity of the opportunities here at this country. It's incredible. This is the country of, well, it's an oil dependent yet country, with all that challenges. Banana, it's a classical product, a lot of craftsmanship. The mountains has a very, very, very interesting landscape and diversity, like deserts, like a lot of things, a lot of diversity. And that is definitely an opportunity for any developer, any developer with their relationship with the operation. That's the key. Who's gonna operate on the hospitality side? So if that's figured out, there is a lot of opportunities here in Ecuador to start from scratch in developing a big building, a big facility, and very, very helpful, or something that you can acquire and start managing with a different proposition of value. That's great opportunity as well.
Absolutely. I'm kind of curious, just, for my own curiosity, are there programs or initiatives that are being taken on to try to attract, external investment, or are there entrepreneurial endeavors locally to help foster, businesses and startups to help grow the landscape as well? I know here in Louisville, we've been really pushing to try to grow our our entrepreneurial ecosystem, because a lot of times with the corporations, it's harder to bring them to a place versus foster them locally. So I'm kind of curious if you could share that insight.
Yeah, there are initiatives, but they're not yet enough. It's required more initiatives from that side, definitely.
Mm-hmm. Okay, makes sense.
Well, I know that you're like involved with the SIOR, so I was kind of wondering how that actually has changed your career path, and if you could kind of elaborate on that and what it's done for you.
I have a lot of value in going to each conference. It's incredible, and it's a pin that it's related with excellence and with big deal making. So it is very, very important in my position, and I've been networking as well and getting deals, getting some business from the network. So it's a very good value, as well as CCIM, because I take the chance to go to both world conferences that they are like aligned to be not simultaneously, like immediately after ends one or other, and it's great value at the base of the business, at the everything that you learn on this process, the people that you meet, and it's very, very, very good for.
Yeah, and you were involved, and you were involved in the international committees as well, correct? To help foster.
Correct.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, and that's one of the cool things about those organizations, is that they try to foster relationships not just domestically but internationally. I'm working towards my CCIM designation. I finished all the coursework.
Good.
I just have to sit.
Wow.
I have to sit for the exam, and then we'll see down the road. Hopefully, SOIR becomes an option. But
good. It's a very good network. SIOR and CCIM. It has like a particular identity that can be perceived by different people. It's very nice. It's very nice. Very, very helpful. Very good people.
The SIOR, has that actually have you got any like deals directly from networking through that, or?
Yes.
Oh,
now
awesome.
I can say that. Yeah. I can say.
Nice.
Well, and it makes sense. I mean, if you're an SIOR and in the US or Mexico or Canada or whatever, and you have a developer contact or a corporate client that has been exploring options in another country, it's like, oh, wait, let me look up in the network to see if I can find someone who's of a high quality. And SIOR has that as a designation is one of the highest designations you could achieve in our career. And so, that just kind of puts a stamp of approval on someone, as you recommend them to other people, that it's a high quality individual. So makes a difference.
I don't think that you get the deals directly from the designation, because you have to be trustfulness in the best way possible. I don't think it's an automatic situation, but if you work on the network, if you participate in the best way, it's gonna be very, very good for your business.
That's phenomenal. No, great insight on that front. So one of the things we like to typically ask is Jeff and I, and really our audience are voracious readers. I mean, we read a lot of books. There's been a lot of books in my life that have made an impact and have changed the way that I approach my day-to-day life and my business. So what we typically like to ask is, what is one of the most impactful books that you've ever read? And it doesn't necessarily have to be real estate related. If you want to share a real estate book, that's completely fine. But if it really is anything that you thought was just like a game-changing idea or something that really affected you in a positive way.
Philip Kotler, marketing management is the base for our consultancy practice.
What is it called?
Nice.
What was it called?
Well, it's a college book. It's marketing management, or everything from Dr. Kotler's.
Dr. Cutler.
Philip Kotler. It's incredible. It's incredible. Very, very well defined marketing environment, concept, everything. It's so incredible. I'm not yet digesting everything of what it represents, but it's something that it's so insightful and it's incredible. Super.
That's
cool.
amazing. I need to get that book. I've never heard of it, so that's great.
Well, that's the base, but he has, for example, marketing for professional services, or that's something that I know. Marketing related to the social media, with a very, very important European author as well in collaboration. So that one of his last books, but the base is the marketing management. And our practice is always relating the market, the real estate marketing, with a marketing concept. That it's very important, because it's misused, the term marketing, because sometimes a project with good communication strategy, they say no, it's pure marketing. It's okay. Marketing is something different, and following the works of Philip Kotler, it's a path to be understood amazing as well. It's good. That's the top, I think. That I can recommend.
And I'm looking forward to getting it. That's one of the selfish things about this podcast, is we get to ask people that do great things, the books they like, and so we get to read them, and it's like, okay, it's like a cheat code almost. So.
So I just want to start out, Ernesto, as we start rounding out the podcast here. We really appreciate your time, and we valued your story and all your expertise. So one of the things that we like to ask our guests is, what are you willing to contribute to our CRE treasure chest, which is just a repository of things that clients have gave us in the past, such as ebooks to PDFs or case studies that they thought would be of value, or they gained some value from it, so they wanted to share. So the ask today is, what would you be willing to share?
I'm going to be sharing a very important graphic that we have developed. It's a Japanese umbrella with the functions of a marketing manager at a real estate development. That is something that I will share with you.
Oh, that's
great. That'd be great. Yeah.
Yeah. Graphics are amazing.
with
I
you
love
and all the audience, because the idea is for everybody. Okay, this is something that I can tell you as functions that they are used to plan a growing stage or concentrate when there are not many projects, concentrate functions in a single person. Those are applications from this graphic that I will be sharing soon.
That's awesome. That's great.
Yeah, that's
Cool,
great.
cool.
Thanks for that.
Thank you. Thank you. No, thank you very much.
Absolutely. Yeah. And, you know, a lot of times, you know, just the simple graphics can make a huge impact, and the ideas that are shared, and, you know, the lessons learned from this also translate across the world. And so for those of you guys who are listening all across the world, this could be something that you could gain value from. So we're really appreciative of that.
Yeah.
Perfect. Great.
Definitely. And so, you know, Ernesto, we do greatly appreciate your time. You know, you're busy, and, you know, it's great that we're able to connect, you know, virtually. This is one of the great things we get to do as far as the podcast is concerned. I get to meet people from all across the world. So, you know, we're looking forward to keeping in touch. But as far as if someone wanted to connect with you to learn more about what you do, if they're maybe even considering, you know, investing or establishing a presence in your local market, what would you recommend as far as people reaching out to you?
Well, I'm all over social media, and I can share with you my contact information, so you can post it, or I'll do that at the channel as well. Excellent.
Oh yeah, no, and
perfect.
and what we'll do just to do it is we'll include his LinkedIn profile and other contact information in the description. So if you guys are watching this in YouTube, it'll be in the description. If you guys are listening to this in a podcast format, whether that's Apple Podcasts, Spotify, it will be in the description as well. So great. Ernesto, thank you so much for your time. As we said before,
Thank you very much.
Oh, absolutely. And for those of you guys who are listening, we would greatly appreciate it if you could leave us a 5-star review. It makes a huge difference in how the reach that we've been able to achieve. So if you're listening to this on Apple Podcast format or Spotify, go ahead and stop by and give us a 5-star review. If you guys are watching this on YouTube, we would greatly appreciate it if you like and subscribe to this channel. It really helps with the YouTube algorithm and ensures more and more people can hear this message and learn about the many facets of commercial real estate. So thanks again so much for stopping by, and we'll see you all next time.